Hello there everyone, and welcome to another edition of Lydia's Crafty Corner with me, Lydia, in my little crafty corner. So today we're going to be using the very beautiful decorative tags, and we're going to be adding a little bit more dimension to inlay die cutting. So I'm going to take the one that has the beautiful flower on it, and I am going to firstly cut this out of just some white cardstock. Now I am using my little metal shim for this one, as the image is pretty detailed and I wanted to make sure that I had that cut perfectly the first time round. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take those inside bits out, and I'm just going to move that over to the side for now. I'm then going to take another piece of white cardstock, but this one we're going to create our own little kind of gradient effect. And I am going to be using the baby pink, the fuchsia, and also the magenta. So I started with the baby pink on both of the sides of the edges, and then I moved on to the fuchsia and blended that in perfectly, and then a little bit of that magenta in the middle there. So once I've done one piece of cardstock, so created my own gradient look, I'm then going to move on to another piece, and we're going to do these ones in green. So I have the Firefly, I also have the grass field, and I am going to add a tiny touch of the Shadow Creek as well. So once I have my little coloured cardstock that we've created, we can then go ahead and kind of do a little bit more to this tag. So I'm just going to add some adhesive all the way over the back. Now I should have added it onto the piece that I'm putting it onto. That would have made it easier for me with the inlaid die cutting, but I didn't. So what I'm going to do, once I have added that little backing onto the tag, which is going to allow us to have a background to pop the inlaid pieces into, I'm just going to take my scissors and I'm just going to fussy cut around the outside edge of this tag. So as you can see, it's really quite easy to do. You're just following that outline that you have. Now with the pink that we have, we only want to cut the flower portion, so there's no need to cut that tag all the way out again. You can just place that into position behind the flower and then cut around the cardstock so you're not wasting any of it. All I'm going to do then is pop a little bit of tape there just to make sure that doesn't move around, and then I'm going to die cut the flower again. As you can see, I am using my little metal shim, as again it's very detailed, so I want to make sure that I have everything nicely cut when I run that through. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add all of those little pieces for the flower into the die cut that we have on the tag. Now that's why we have the backing there. That's why I should have added the adhesive to the background piece, so then I didn't need to add the adhesive to these little pieces, because it would have just gone in and it would have stuck there. So if you are doing this at home, I would recommend that you put your adhesive onto the background of the tag when you pop it on, rather than the back of the tag. Hopefully that makes sense. So as you can see, I'm just going to keep going and just add all of these little petals into place. I do love that we've created our own little piece of gradient cardstock, because that's going to give a gradient look to all of these beautiful petals. If you wanted to though, you could definitely use already coloured cardstock, and you can definitely add a little bit more of a gradient effect to that as well by just adding a darker ink to the coloured cardstock piece that you have. Some of these pieces are quite small, and all I am going to do is I am going to use my little tweezers just to help me out so I can pop them in the correct place. So once I have all of those little pieces in, I am going to cut that flower again, this time from the darker kind of shade that we have on our gradients cardstock that we created. I am going to again add my little metal shim into place while I run that through, just to make sure that everything is perfectly cut. Now for these little images, I am going to kind of fold and twist the petals upwards, and I'm just going to be gluing the bottom or the base of the petal on this, so the petals kind of float and turn upwards when you look at it from the side. So when you look at it from the top, it's going to look like we have stuck these flat, but we haven't. We have in fact added a little bit more dimension and movement to the image by folding up those petals. You do want to do it quite gently with your fingers, just kind of warm them up a little bit, and then the paper is going to be much more malleable for you to kind of move that around. Now, some of the petals I did fold upwards, and then some of the smaller petals, the ones that are in the background or, you know, further away from us, I have added those flat. And that is going to give us a bit more dimension because we have the inlaid die cutting, which is flat to the paper. Then we have those petals that were sticking at the behind with just the glue, so that's going to add a little bit more depth to those. And then we also have the petals that we've curled, and that's going to have a lot more depth to those ones. Now I did want to add a little bit more of those folded petals, so I am just going to cut the rest of that gradient cardstock that we have, and I'm just going to add a couple of petals in. So the ones that would be further forward than everything else, they're the ones that I'm going to stick in, and I'm just gluing those down at the base again. So once we've done the flower, I'm then going to move on to the leaves. I'm going to use the green piece of cardstock that we created, and I'm just going to be cutting around the leaf area before I do cut that out, and then I can use that green cardstock on a further card or a further project. I'm then going to just add these in like you would normal inline die cut, just making sure that they're nice and flat because they are further away from us than the flower, so I want to make sure that that flower is going to pop rather than the leaves. So you can see just how pretty and dimensional that is there. I'm then going to take the fancy sentiments, and I'm just kind of working out which ones kind of works best with the tag that we have going on here. I did go with the Hello Lovely, and I'm just going to stamp that into place using some Obsidian ink. As this is a tag, I do feel that it needs some twine. I always find that I'm adding twine to my tags. I find that it looks really, really pretty. So I'm just going to add some twine and a little bit of a bow. I do find that doing a bow from upside down helps me out. I don't know why, but it does. So once I have my little bow and tag, I then wanted to pop that onto a dark card base. So this is just jet black. And then once I had popped my little foam tape on the back of the tag, ready to pop this down, I realized that it looked a bit stark. So I wanted to add a little bit extra to the background of this. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take some pure white ink spray. I'm just going to splatter that over the card base, and I do find that that really helps out the tag sit on there a little bit better rather than having it floating around. Once that's in place, you can then fold those petals up again for a little bit more dimension. And here is the card complete. I really do hope that you like the card and that you've enjoyed the video as well. If you do create a card that was inspired by this, it would be great if you do share because we'd love to see. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and we'll see you again really, really soon. Bye-bye. Hello there, crafty friend, Lydia here. Just popping in to say that you can get your daily dose of crafting tips, techniques, and tutorials just like this by subscribing to the Altenew YouTube channel. All you need to do is click on that little bell up there and you will never miss a video. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.